welcome to our special program, To The Point. NDA government has completed 1 year in power at the centre. We have with us one of the leaders from the opposition parties, a senior leader of the CPI-M, Ms. Brinda Karat. Ma'am, welcome to Rajya Sabha Television. Too much has been said by the opposition about the NDA government and its policies and the way they have moved forward. And the government itself has been, very vocal about their achievements in the first year. So, first of all, to summarize NDA's 1 year, what would be your views as to how would you summarize NDA being in power for 1 year led by Narendra Modi?
I don't think it's an NDA government actually. I think it's a Modi government, it's a PMO run government. I don't think the NDA partners, if we listen to their voices today after 1 year, where are they? Their partners like Ramvilas Paswan, for example, he's been quite critical on many issues about the government. He says, oh, we're not sending the message out right. A wrong message is going. Look at the Shiv Sena, they are completely silent. Where are they after 1 year? Where are the Badals and what's happening there? So, I don't think it's an NDA government. It's a Modi-run government, it's a PMO-run government. And I think under this government, democratic institutions have taken a hit. Autonomous institutions have taken a hit. The second, as you asked, just sum it up, just in one sentence. I would say this is a government which has utilized its majority in the Lok Sabha to attack the very voters with whose support they came into power, the Kisans, the Mazdoors and the working people of India. And I think that is the betrayal.
Okay, you've raised a number of issues, a number of points. Let's take them one by one. Let's first talk about the first part of your answer. Are you suggesting that there is, instead of the so-called promised decentralization of power, has been a centralization of power out here when you say that it is a government which is run by the PMO, it is just about one man?
Totally so. And they want it also like that. Things have come to such a pass. Cabinet itself, I don't know, obviously it's a cabinet situation, so decisions obviously have to be taken by the cabinet. But it's all preordained and predetermined. This is a government which not only is a PMO-led government, PMO-determined government, but in the course of the 1 year, we have seen an unprecedented contempt of parliament being displayed. We have never seen this, so many important bills without parliamentary scrutiny. You just want to push them through ordinances. And then when voices are raised in parliament saying, this is not parliamentary procedure, you are violating that parliamentary procedure, then they say, Arey, you all are obstructionist. Certainly, if the constitution is going to be violated, if parliamentary procedures are going to be replaced by authoritarian actions, there will have to be not just obstruction, but a positive intervention from the opposition to ensure that India's constitutional framework remains unscathed by the attack of the Modi government.
We spoke about the obstruction and the positive intervention, but the government doesn't seem to be considering the kind of voices which have been raised by the opposition inside the parliament as a positive intervention. They rather term it as obstruction only. They say that it's just because that they do not have any constructive ideas to put forward. The opposition is trying to stall the developmental policies or programs which are being put into place by the government. There are several bills which the government says that could have been passed if there would have not been so much obstruction from the opposition. And the examples are the land bill, another is the GST, which is again gone to a standing committee. So is this a sort of not a different situation wherein both sides are accusing each other again in the first year of the government itself?
I would like to make just one point. I can't speak on behalf of the entire opposition. The left has had a consistent position on certain policy issues whether it was the UPA government under Dr. Manmohan Singh, or today it is the Modi government. So we have a consistent policy approach. Now, who brings those bills? Really, it's of least concern. The question is that bill in favor of that section of the population who's supposed to benefit from it? Or is that bill going to be against the interests of India? On that point, we are very clear. As far as GST is concerned, it was the BJP which completely stalled it. At that time also, we had said very clearly that we have to guarantee that the states do not suffer. As it is, you're squeezing the resources of the state. Today we have a situation of centralization, that you speak in the name of cooperative federalism and you act in the name of coercive centralism. This is what is actually happening. They say that they're giving more funds to the states. In actual fact, if you look at the small print and you look at the real figures, you'll find it is less, because they've taken away more from the states in central schemes and programs than they're giving under the 14th Finance Commission's recommendation. My point is simply this, that there is Parliament, there are ways to bring legislation into Parliament. What you were doing in the opposition, you want to push through in government. Maybe it's a fact. Many of the bills which the Congress brought, today the Congress may be, for its own reasons, opposing it. That's between the Congress and the BJP. As far as we are concerned, on many issues, there is a much more greater coincidence of views on economic policies between the Congress and the BJP. As far as the left is concerned, I can tell you, if a bill comes which is going to help India and its people, for example, let them bring the women's reservation bill. There's a consensus on that bill, bring it.
Okay.
Why aren't you bringing the women's reservation bill? How come it's not on your agenda? For example, anything which will strengthen Manrega, but you bring an ordinance, like a land ordinance, which you had voted for only 2 years ago, and today you do a 180-degree turn and think the entire opposition and the left is going to say, ha, kyunki Modi ji hai, it must be good for India.
You spoke about land bill. Is there going to be some sort of meeting ground as far as land acquisition bill is concerned? Because the government seemed to be really adamant on getting it through. They have issued a number of ordinances, they have brought it, now it has been sent to the joint committee of the houses. So are there some suggestions from your party which you believe, if are agreed to by the government, then you are on board?
Well, we have made very concrete suggestions. We've said what the main issues of consent, of social impact assessment, and of cutting down on what is supposed to be public interest. They want to bring everything under public interest. They started off by saying even 5-star hotels are in public interest and give us a right. It's only when there was such an opposition to it. Our point is very clear. The 2013 bill, we had many criticisms, by the way, about the inadequacies of that bill. The 2013 bill was passed by Parliament. Let us implement that bill and let us see the experience of the implementation of that bill, and then Parliament can always review it. So our position is very clear. We see no reason at all to mess with the 2013 law. And for example, many state governments have already made rules for it. I was in Jharkhand recently. I have a copy of the rules which were framed at that time by the Jharkhand government. So now you've already gone through a process of the act and the rules which are being framed by many of the state governments. Why do you want to, now try and overturn all that process? So let it go forward. Let us see the experience of the implementation, and then we can always review it.
Okay. Apart from GST and land acquisition bill, what are the other major policy areas or other major decisions which have been taken by the NDA government which you believe could have been done a little better or in some other way?
Well, we are very clear about one aspect, which is the whole question of labour reform. Now, if you look at the priorities of this government, first they've attacked the farmers and their main target is the workers. If you just look at the facts, for example, the latest figures which have come, about the breakup of the cost of production in a factory. Say of 100 rupees which is spent, only 2 rupees 17 paisa goes on wages. Now what Mr. Modi is intending to do is, even that very low level, the laws which give protection to workers are sought to be completely weakened, diluted and eliminated. And they're bringing a host of bills for that. The trade unions jointly, all trade unions, have decided to go on a one-day strike on September 2nd. That is the answer to Modi. It's not just the opposition parties sitting in parliament who are saying, look out, where are you going? Who are you supporting?
Okay.
So the workers are coming out because we're not going to allow those bills to be passed. He wants to use his majority in Lok Sabha to pass it. Workers outside are saying, no way, we're not going to allow this to happen. So the point is, at present, the priorities of the government are to support corporates on the most discredited trickle-down theory, make the rich richer, and some of it is going to trickle down to the poor. That's the attitude of Mr. Modi and his government. It's not going to work. You can't replace one crony with another crony and say, you know, we're through with crony capitalism. That's not happening.
Well, let's take a short break out here, and then we will have another question on the charges against this government of being, favoring the crony capitalists, and also other issues such as the child labor law and the way things have been going on inside the parliament. Let's take a short break. Welcome back. Senior leader of CPI-M, Ms. Brinda Karat, is still with us, and we are having a discussion on 1 year of NDA government, which you termed as 1 year of just Modi government. When in any case, Mr. Narendra Modi is the Prime Minister. Let's come back to the discussion about labor reforms. One of another major initiative which has been taken by the Narendra Modi government is with respect to the Child Labor Act. What is your party's point of view on that?
I think it is absolutely shocking. First of all, they show their contempt for children's rights by keeping the Commission for Children's Rights headless. Therefore, whereas according to the law, every policy concerning children has to be discussed with the Child Rights Commission, they've just done away with it because there's no chair.
Okay.
Secondly, this child labor law, what is it? One, children above the age of 14 can now work in all non-hazardous industries. And children from the age of 3 or whenever a little baby's hands are used to work, in the name of family enterprise, they are going to legalize child labor even for children below the age of 14 in the name of India's culture, at a time when big companies are outsourcing, big factories are outsourcing all kinds of processes to contractors who then further outsource to families. To allow children then to work, saying this is legalizing, because the families need it. I think it is a grave injustice to children. It is going to help employers to exploit child labor, and we are totally opposed to it. It is a cruel snatching away of a child's childhood. And India in the 21st century, talking about development and yet legalizing child labor in the name of family enterprise, I think it's an affront to children's dignity and human dignity, and we are against it.
Okay, you also said that this government is for crony capitalists. It's just about the matter of replacing one with another. But I have with me 2 of the letters which have been written by the Prime Minister to the citizens of the country on the first anniversary of the NDA government. And they go on to say a lot of things about the initiatives being taken by the government for the common man, be it in terms of financial inclusion, opening of bank accounts, the social security net, widening the social security net through providing pension schemes and Antyodaya and so on and so forth. Several initiatives which have been taken by the government for the common man. The government rather seems to go ahead and counter this argument of this charge of the opposition of being in favor of crony capitalists by listing all these measures which have been taken by them?
There's also a sentence in that letter which says, we believe in Antodaya and the poor will be soldiers in our war against poverty. So can I ask the Honorable Prime Minister, if the poor are going to be the soldiers in the war against poverty, who are the commanders? We all know who the commanders are. The commanders are those who sit next to Mr. Modi when he's going to Australia and who are being helped to buy coal mines in Australia, which are against the environmental laws of that country, and who get, easy credit from Indian banks. So we know who the commanders are. We've seen it very clearly. We have seen it with the lavish praise which is being showered on our Prime Minister by all those who have found a place at the high table. But that is not India. That may be a part of India, but it's an infinitesimal part of India. And Mr. Modi dines or allows those at the high table who are those who have, I'm sorry to have to say this, but the fact of the matter is those who have bankrolled the entire election campaign of the Prime Minister are those who find a place at the high table. And if you look at each and every policy, it is the corporates and it is those who are even closer to him among the corporates who have benefited. And I also want to say, on the one hand you have this, and you have claims that, we have done away with this and that, but pictures tell the real story. The second aspect is, the Prime Minister is so vocal on everything, but how come the Prime Minister in all his speeches has not said that the kind of communal poison and toxic slogans which are given, not by fringe elements, but by those sitting in Parliament, how come they're still there? How come some of them are still in Mr. Modi's cabinet? These are issues which concern not the government alone, but the polity of India. So I think that is a very, very serious issue before the country today.
Okay, but when we are talking about the claim of the government about the several schemes which have been launched for the common man, for the poor people, and the argument which you have given, which is being given by the other opposition parties as well, do we here understand that the opposition parties, including yours, are completely writing off these initiatives which have been taken by this government in the first year?
You talk about financial inclusion. Now they say 15 crore bank accounts. But what they don't say is around 80% of those bank accounts are zero money accounts. So people don't have the money to put in the accounts. That is the reality of India. They do not have the money to utilize those accounts, firstly. In spite of the fact that there's such a hype about the Jan Dhan Yojana, you ask any single person who opened that account believing in the Prime Minister last January, please ask, what have you benefited from it? The 3 insurance scheme, 2 insurance and 1 pension scheme. The government does not have to put a single paisa in any of those insurance schemes. Why are they claiming it? And the insurance companies are still calculating, are they going to make money out of it or not? So on the one hand, through these schemes, you're trying to mobilize a certain amount of money from the poorer sections of people, which will then be used as capital by the banks. And on the other hand, you are making claims on 2 schemes for which the government does not have a single paisa to give. And as far as the Atal Bihari Vajpayee pension yojana is concerned, what I'm saving, I'm going to put my savings into that for 20 years before I get a meager pension. I mean, what is 1,000 rupees going to be worth in 20 years? So what I'm saying is, you already have a law for social security. You already have a commission, the Arjun Sengupta Commission, which has given you a blueprint as to how to go about it. You need money for it. You are giving schemes in which Mr. Arun Jaitley's budget 2015-16 does not allocate a single rupee for it. So what are we talking about here?
Okay, let's move on to another issue which you raised about this whole discussion about their argument that they believe in cooperative federalism and the opposition's argument that this is coercive centralism. Now, in their favor, the government says that two of the very important bills which have been passed with regard to the coal sector and mine sector is going to empower those states which have natural resources. One. Two, the never-ending argument about the 14th Finance Commission calculations. The government says that they are in favor of the state governments. The opposition says that they are not. They're exactly the same figures. It's just one digit there or there, this side or that side. So, does this entire concept of cooperative federalism, is this seeming to work in favor of strengthening ties between center and the states at any level?
Well, Mr. Modi's foreign speeches certainly give the impression that, it's a new spring for center-state relations. But if you look at the actual facts, it's not the truth. Look at the mining bill, for example. The Mining Act, the main people who are going to be affected are the Adivasis. They are fifth schedule areas in the states. What you have done is, in the name of giving state rights, you've entirely taken away the rights of the community which is going to be most affected. You're not even going to take Adivasi consent before allowing foreign miners and companies to come in. And you are saying the states are going to benefit. How are the states going to benefit? Even the royalties which should be given, which is 10% royalty for development of that area under the state, they've cut it down from 100% to 1/3. Earlier it was equivalent royalty for the district mineral foundation. Now it is 1/3. So, in fact, the state and the district is going to get less money from the mining companies. Now they may have had some deals with some of the parties, like the TMC, for example. They may have had a deal because Mr. Derek O'Brien became the proxy spokesman for the Modi government on the mining bill. So they may have, I don't know about that, they have to answer that. But certainly Adivasis have been shortchanged. The Samta judgment has said very clearly that Adivasis have to have a stake in the mineral wealth, not indirectly but directly. So that's one aspect. Secondly, as far as money is concerned, see what has happened in the Finance Commission. You are saying now 42%. First of all, it depends on tax revenues that the central government is raising. They are constantly falling short of that. So it's a flexible, what exactly goes to the state, there's no. But what they were giving to the states in the form of central assistance for central schemes, that has already been cut, drastically cut. So on the one hand, you already have a cut, a huge cut which you're dealing with. And on the other hand, you have this. And look at the Northeast states. Now always there has been a national consensus that the Northeast requires special attention. The Northeast Special Plan has been gravely diluted. And in fact, the Northeast chief ministers are writing to the Prime Minister saying, why are you practicing this discriminatory policy towards us? Now that's a straight message that this is not cooperative federalism.
Okay, quickly, one or two more questions. One is that there have been a lot of criticism from the opposition about the Prime Minister's foreign visits. They might seem too many in number, but it's not the first time that any Prime Minister has been on foreign visits. Why such a human cry?
On our website has made the calculation. So every 20 days he was outside. If you calculate 18 trips and the number of days and 365 days. And so we said that, they're claiming 18 countries visited. When will the Prime Minister claim, I hope, by next year, that at least he can say 18 villages visited in India? And what did you get out of it? What did you actually get out of it? Yes, it's true that Mr. Modi has developed an image which everybody now, the world knows that India has a Prime Minister called Mr. Narendra Modi. Now it may be because Mr. Narendra Modi was not giving visas earlier by some of the governments because of the 2002 Gujarat genocide. Maybe he wanted to make a point and say, I'm Prime Minister now, all the doors are opening for me, including the White House, which is fine. But substantively, what did he get for India?
Okay, wonderful. Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you for being with us. So this was senior CPM leader Brinda Karat having in a freewheeling conversation with us on 1 year of Modi government, and also in the end as to what would be her party's priorities as far as West Bengal and soon to be Bihar elections as well. We'll come back again next week with a different personality on a different topic. Till then, keep watching Rajya Sabha Television.